All right. Michael, when it comes to determining the size of a household, who's in the household will depend upon, or how many people are in the household and costs and so on, will determine, in some cases, which category of bankruptcy they can qualify for. So what are the rules in determining the size of the debtor's household?
The traditional rule, the one that applies most often, is how many dependents you have, obviously counting yourself and perhaps your spouse also. And so it may be as simple as just the number of people that have been entered on the last tax return. On the other hand, there are circumstances such as when you have adult children, or perhaps you're helping out a friend or a parent where you have someone who might be in your household part of the time. And again, the IRS rules on whether they're dependent or not helps determine what the household size is. But then furthermore, just to determine whether you're above median or below, the household size is a little more of a loose rule. And so you could have a person who's part of your household for part of the year and then not, and that kind of depends. When you file the bankruptcy, determines how big your household was when you filed the case. Mm-hmm. So the one kind of loose rule is how many heads on beds do you have in your house, and so you just count up the number of people there, and it could be a child, it could be an adult of any age, and you compare that to the median size. Mm-hmm. Or the median income level.
Okay, and that's how you determine which median income level applies, is based upon the number of people in the household.
Well, and then furthermore, if you're above median compared to how many people have in your house, that's when you have to start using the complicated means test. Whereas if you're below median, you have less strict rules.
I see.
To try and show that you don't have the ability to afford to pay your debts.
I see. Occasionally, there's a situation where married couple, say the husband is having financial problems, whereas the wife is not. Do they both have to file for bankruptcy?
No. They can choose to file individually or jointly as a couple. And some of the considerations of that are who owes the most amount of debt. Furthermore, who owns property. They may own property jointly. They may own, one spouse may own something, one spouse may own something else. And then the idea is that whatever works more advantageously is what you want to try and get your client into. Now, there also may be people who are technically married that can file a joint case even though they may be separated. And that's also something you can do to say joint administration of the case is a good idea because their debts are similar, or just because they do want to deal with things, a common pool of creditors, or only one has income and they just want to make sure that it's all illustrated as basically one case going through, rather than having to explain how one spouse might be paying for another spouse's expenses.
Mm-hmm. Now, Tina,